Right, hi everybody, this is Chris 2E0UKH in the UK, and I've finally got my hands on an Anytone D168. It's the one on the left. The one on the right is the 878 for size comparison, and I'm super excited to test this out, and a huge thank you to Anytone for sending this radio over to me. I am actually an official beta tester, so I will be doing some testing on this radio. So briefly, I'm going to show you what you get in the box when you get the radio. So I'm just going to clear the deck a minute. So we've seen the radio. In the box you get the instruction manual, of course, and it's all in very nice English. And you get the charging dock, and the battery connections are different to the 878, so the batteries are not compatible. I've already checked. On the back of the dock is a USB-C, there it is, sorry, USB-C connection, and it comes with a wire, of course. So it's a standard USB to a USB-C, and that can be used for charging it and programming it. I've already tested that. You program the radio using that cable. You do not use the Kenwood type that's on the normal older 878, 868. So there's a power brick included. I'll need a converter on this end, and on this side is the USB. It comes with a belt clip, and there's two batteries. There's a high powered one, a large high power battery, and there's a smaller one which is on the radio, nice slimline one. And the radio does come with two aerials. I'll just show you the small one will fit on the screen. So it comes with a smaller aerial, and I'm just going to zoom out the screen. And it comes with this second much longer aerial. It's like a Nagoya 771. I'm sure you've seen one similar, but that will give a lot longer range. The screen on the Anytone 168 is in a vertical orientation. The radio itself is smaller, but this is very clever because it allows for the numbers and the text to be larger in a smaller footprint radio. And the colours on the 168 are not as vivid as on the 878. So I think you can see it on the camera, but that's not a problem at all. But I'm just pointing out some differences on the screen. So you might have noticed some obvious differences on the front, apart from the screen, which we've mentioned. On the keypad, let's talk about the keypad. You've got the up and down buttons, and on the 878 you've got the zone button up and down. So the zone is now on the up and down button. You don't have the P1 and the P2 button. The keypad is smaller on the 168, and this all allows for a smaller footprint radio. The button on the top on the 878, that's now gone. There's nothing on the 168 on the top. There's now a different way to get it into firmware update mode. And on the right hand side, on the 878, under the flap you've got the Kenwood connector, and you've also got it in the top on the 168, but below that is a USB-C, and you charge the radio, or you program it from the USB-C. The 878, you can buy additional batteries which have USB-C, but they are plugged into the actual battery itself. Now the batteries themselves, I've got the smaller one on the left, the larger capacity on the right. The smaller capacity is 1800 mAh, and the high capacity one is 2600 mAh. And the radio is only 5 watts compared to, I think it's 7 on the 878. So, you know, I haven't had a chance to test battery life, but it's great that you got 2 batteries, because getting Anytone batteries into the country is tricky. So to have 2 at the start is awesome. The batteries themselves are not compatible. The 168 battery is not compatible with the 878. You can see on the left we've got different pins on the 168 battery compared to the 878. And I'll just take the batteries away and I'll show you the USB-C underneath the flap. So so you got the Kenwood connector at the top and the USB-C below, and on the top there's no button, as we mentioned. You got the 2 buttons on the side, the 2 presets, which can be programmable, and that's about it for the batteries and the case. Now we're going to look at the radio itself. I know that's what everyone wants to see. So it doesn't have the button on the top, so how do you get it into firmware update mode? Well, you switch it on with transmit and the lower button. And you'd update it with the software and the USB-C cable. Now every time you put a new firmware in, I normally recommend back up the code plug, back up everything, and install the new firmware, and then initialize the radio. So that's also on here, using the transmit button and the higher preset, the one at the top. So transmit and the button below it, basically. So switch it on like that, and that puts it into initialize the radio mode. So always do that when you put a new firmware in. So now we're going to have a look at the menus on the new 168. If you've got an 878, you'll be very familiar with the setup. So menu button top left, you got talk group at the top. In there you can turn on talk alias, which is very useful. You don't need to use the DMR database. That's option 4 at the bottom there. So I'll just go back. So you've got SMS. I don't know if anyone uses that, but it works very well from one Anytone to another. Even over simplex, you know, even if you're not on a hotspot or a repeater, It works remarkably well over the air, over simplex. You've got a call log, you've got zones, you can create a zone in there, you can scan. So if you're in VFO mode, you can search, you can look for a frequency, and if you're in channel mode, you can scan the channels you've got in. Now notice it comes out the menu very quickly. There's a way to fix that. So back into the menu, call log zone, scan, roaming for DMR. If you've got blanket coverage with DMR, theoretically you can go from one repeater to the other. I haven't got that here, so I can't test that. Settings, that's what I'll do another segment about the settings, because that's a big one. So you've got record. This radio will allow you to record FM as well as DMR. The 878 only allows recording of DMR. So this has got the satellite feature as well. You know, remember this is a cut down version of the 878, so that's quite impressive. So you've got the satellite predicting feature, and it'll automatically adjust the Doppler for transmit and receive for the ISS. You know, it makes this a really, really good ISS radio, if that's what you enjoy doing. I do. So just going down. So you've got a digital monitor. You can use this as a scanner and search using that scan button in VFO mode. You can search from wherever you are on the VFO upwards, and you set it you set it wide, any talk group, any colour code, any ID, any slot, that sort of thing, and you'll hear transmissions from police and security and stuff like that without having to go and buy a Whistler scanner. It's not as fast, but if you've already got it, it's worth trying it. So we've got digital monitor. It's got APRS. Now, I'm sure I read it only has analog APRS receive. I'm sure it said on Bridgecom on their little table, only analog receive APRS. But if I go into the menu, analog APRS, you've got transmit power and PTT upload. So it looks like it's got proper APRS. Now it doesn't have GPS. Anyway, that takes us to the end of this segment. Next we're going to look in the settings menu, because that's where all the fun is. We're going to go into the settings now and look in the settings in the menu. I've got fireworks going off left, right and centre, so apologies for that. Now, menu, settings. You can go up. It's quicker if you go up sometimes if you want one of the lower options. So if you go into settings, you've got three parts to it. Device info, I'll cover that first because that's a super quick one. It just shows your firmware, your radio ID, your model name, hardware, frequency range, and all the details which are useful when you've got a problem and you're telling someone what actual version you've got. Now I'm going to go into the settings and I'm going to just bring them up. And radio set is settings to do with the radio. Channel set is settings to do with setting up a repeater or the VFO or memories, CTC, SS tones, DMR, you know, everything to do with channels is in channel set. So we want radio set, and I'm looking for the feature where it stops the menu jumping out so quick. I'm just skipping ahead to this. So there's a setting in here, exit time. This is imperative. I'm getting a bit fed up of it jumping out. So yeah, 60 seconds, so that'll give us plenty of time. So now we've got 60 seconds, we can relax a bit. So in radio set, we're just going to go through them. So you've got voice functions, beep tone, digital idle, analog idle, start sound, talk permit, DRST tone, volume level, earphone level, ear level, mic sound, SMS prompt, call ring, digital, digi mic, analog mic. So I think you can alter audio levels independently. Time mute, transmit noise reduction, analog noise reduction. I was wondering where that was, so that's very interesting. Someone said it's on the 878 as well. Receive AGC. So that's the voice functions. Display functions. So we got backlight, night mode, light, time. I've set mine to infinite. The batteries just last forever on these Anytones. Channel name, language, exit time, startup, background, font color, channel color, A and B, zone color, A and B, main channel, sub channel off. I always have that off because it makes the radio a lot easier to use, because you know what line you're on if you've only got one, but that's personal preference. So that's display function. Go to key functions, and yeah, we've got key lock. You can program the short and long function of the two presets on the side. So for all of these it will be the same function. So PF1 and PF2 has got a short and long, so we'll see what options are available, because it'll apply to all of them. So VFO memory, sub PTT, scan, FM radio, alarm, record switch. I mean, record, that's handy to have it on a quick button. SMS, dial, GPS info. Now we don't have GPS on this radio, but you enter it in manually. I believe you enter your coordinates. So you can say which one is the main channel. Hotkey 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've set a hotkey up before to do an unlink. So if I'm trying to get out of talk group 91, I'll press one button and it loads it on the display, and you press transmit in the gap and you can get out. So that's what a hotkey is. Work alone, scan skip, digital monitor, sub channel off, priority zone, VFO scan, lots of stuff in here. Mic sound, last call, channel type, ranging. It tells you how far you are from one radio to another. Works very well if you're using both Anytones. I've done a video on that. Roaming, channel ranging, maximum volume. You can set it so that the maximum volume is not the actual maximum volume, so you don't disturb someone. Slot set, APRS type, zone select, roam set, APRS set, time mute, CDT set, TBST send. Now is that Bluetooth on it? Because we don't have Bluetooth on this one, so that's unusual. GPS on and off. We don't have GPS, so channel name, APRS send, dim, shunt, shut, GPS roam, weather alarm, I think that's what it means, squelch level, channel set, predicting. So, crikey, that's a good amount of features available for a quick press or a long press of one of these. So, you know, that's really useful. So all of these will be the same functions available for the quick and long press. So you've got short and long. You've got long too, so that's you must be able to hold it a bit longer, I would have thought. So that's the key functions. Other functions, goodness me. Power off, TX timer, TOT predict, transmit power, AGC, frequency step, squelch level, power save, TBST select Vox, Vox delay, scan, mod, DTMF, SPD, FM radio, FM monitor, start power, PWD, is that power? Not sure. Auto repeater for A and B, weather alarm, SMS format, CTE, DCE, STE, not sure what they are. No signal, STE, time zone, time display, date and time. You can turn the date and time off. It frees up space on the display. Transmit preamble, header, RPT, CR, signal. Goodness knows what that is. So, that's everything in radio set, and we've covered device info. Let's take a look in channel set. Right, so now we're going to go into the settings, the channel set settings. That's to do with setting up repeaters, channels, VFOs. So I'll just go up, it's quicker. So there we are in channel set. And by the way, just look, just make a note of what we got on the VFO, because that will be important in a minute. So channel set. Once you've set it up in the VFO, which I just showed you, if you click new channel, it will save the channel. That should be called save channel, really. That's how you save a channel. So you can delete a channel. Channel type, that will be analog or digital or analog. There's a combination of them in here. Transmit power, offset, bandwidth. So these are all for setting up channels, repeaters and VFO. Receive frequency. If I go in there, it's showing the frequency that was on the VFO. That's why I wanted to you to make a note of it. So if you were setting a simplex frequency, the receive frequency and the transmit frequency would have to be the same. If you're setting up a repeater, you will put the repeater input and output in there. So transmit frequency. So that's exactly the same. So you can put a different frequency in for both, and then you'd have a repeater if you added a tone. Talk around, that's a DMR feature. Name. You can give a channel a name in there. Transmit allow. If you're handing it to someone that is not licensed or you think they might abuse it, you can turn that off. So they don't. So they transmit prohibit. There you go. It's that one. So you can put it in prohibit mode and it won't transmit. Radio ID. You can put several IDs in there. Color codes. time slots, digital encryption type, receive group, work alone, channel range in, APRS, REC, SMS forbid, ACK forbid, transmit idle, DMR mode. So you can have it in simplex, repeater, DCDM dual or DCDM TS. Slot suite. Anyway, that was a super in-depth look at the new Anytone 168.